This project has two or three major elements, one of which my colleague Professor Brookings was talking about, is people's perceptions. How we see a place and how we see the environment can have a profound impact on the future of that place. And it's important for us to get a sense of that. But also there's two other things that's very important too, and we've been collecting information and organizing information, and that has to do with the spatial aspects of the place, where things are and what's there, and the economic aspects of a place. The goal of this whole project is to bring these three things together to give some direction for shaping the future of Southwest Raleigh. So we're back to the physical map. One of the things was talked about was access to downtown and connections, perceptions. The physical reality bears that out. This map basically shows 5, 10, and 15-minute travel times from the center of Southwest Raleigh. It's basically showing that the average commute of someone who lives in Southwest Raleigh is between 10 and 29 minutes. That'll get you to center of Cary, center of Raleigh, RTP, NC State. It is very centrally located, probably one of the most centrally located neighborhoods to these major resources in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's quite obvious the perceptions are matching up to that. In addition, when we look at other things like retail space, some important things to note relative to retail space is there's only a 2.5% vacancy for retail space. That is very, very low. It's one of the lowest vacancy rates in the Triangle area. Also, the rental rate for retail is currently $19.49 a square foot, which is much higher than all the other surrounding submarkets. So in terms of retail, it's full and it's expensive. Now, when we look at office space, you'll see basically the same phenomena is beginning to occur here. We have a vacancy rate of 7.4, and for office space, that's very good. And we have one of the highest average rental rates for office space per square foot. Also, the rental rates are achieving over a 5% premium over the average in the Triangle. Another important thing is that 91% of the office space in Southwest Raleigh is Class B and C, and this isn't a grade. We're not, B and C isn't bad. B and C means it's lower, it's more moderate office space, which is perfect kinds of office space for startup ventures, entrepreneurship, small businesses moving in. It's not really high-end, very expensive office space, but it's a good office space to accommodate that market. We look at industrial space, again we start seeing the same phenomena. A very low vacancy rate, a 41% premium over the Triangle rate average. It's very expensive based on the average. And also warehouse space basically has the same kind of profile in terms of low vacancy rates and an average cost per square foot, which in this case is almost 90% over the Triangle average. This indicates something is going on in Southwest Raleigh. There's a demand that's pushing the edge in terms of what's available out there, and that also is foreshadowing change, that the conditions are becoming appropriate for some major change to happen. Now, in addition, we've done some economic analyses on businesses within Southwest Raleigh and potentials for businesses. This was done by the Pool Management School for us, very extensive market analysis, which I am going to talk about very briefly, so I'm not giving it justice. But what's really important is, first of all, the analysis looked at ongoing growth. In other words, local businesses that has the best potential and a local advantage for expansion and growth. You go down the list: educational services, arts, entertainment, management of companies and enterprises, information systems, publishing industries. Based upon the resources of Southwest Raleigh, these are things that exist there and have a dramatic, above the normal average that you would expect, potential for growth. Also, there are a number of new industries that have the potential for growth but aren't there yet. That if you look nationally, the potential is much higher than you would expect on a national average, but is much higher. And some of this things like retail trade and wholesale trade and manufacturing, accommodations and food services are underrepresented to what the demand indicates they should be. Again, this is showing you, setting up a circumstance that this is a place where something is going to change. The market forces are moving in that direction. Now this is a hard to look at, but I'm going to tell you what's important about this. What's important is it looks at, for Southwest Raleigh, employment and sales relative to the whole of Raleigh. Now remember that magic number I talked about, 24%? The physical area of Southwest Raleigh is approximately 24%, all of Raleigh. Now, if you look at something like management and companies and enterprises, there is 32% of the people involved in that in Raleigh are in Southwest Raleigh, and 75% of the sales are in Southwest Raleigh. Southwest Raleigh is only 24% of the land area. You look at things such as arts and entertainment. Again, 48% of that is in Southwest Raleigh, and 60% of the revenue is being generated. So all these items that's been highlighted in green are basically proportionately doing far better in Southwest Raleigh than their normal share would be expected. Economic conditions are changing and are different. Now we're going to talk about some of the factors very briefly. This is going to whet your appetite to come back at our next public meeting. We're starting to look at, if this change happens, how could it happen, and what forms it could take, and how could you and the city and the people involved influence it. So this is one of the things. These are mixed-use centers. These have been identified by the City of Raleigh to be developed as mixed-use centers, the dark red areas. And adding to that, the comprehensive plan shows additional mixed-use centers and transit-oriented developments. So all the bright orange and red areas are places that the regulatory structure is now in place to allow significant change to happen, or soon will be in place. Okay, let's look at one of these places, which you all know about. We talked about already, Mission Valley. There is our little place, Mission Valley. We know it well. I go to, like, the Mission Valley Cinema is the best because they got good beer that you can have when you watch movies. Okay, it's strategically located right between, in the heart of the NC State campus. Currently, it is a conventional development, relatively low density. Now, if you apply the rules that are now in place for mixed-use development to this site, what could you actually do there? So, group of graduate students, an individual worked on this for an extended period of time. And this is what happens. Existing allows this, which becomes a mixed-use development, multi-floors, residential office space, and provides a Mission Valley which is nothing like the Mission Valley that we have in mind at the moment. But that's a possibility of something that could happen. Additionally, let's look at another place, transit-oriented development. One thing that's very important to note is the light rail proposal, which has been around for a long time and is slowly moving its way, is going to have a profound impact on Southwest Raleigh. Most of the stops are in Southwest Raleigh. Let's look at one of them. This is in the corner of Hillsborough and Blue Ridge. There it is there in the center. Right now it's sort of a low-density commercial, some light industry area right across from the Dorton Arena. This is what's allowable under transit-oriented developed standards, and if you happen to be at Dorton Arena and look out to the area, what it would look like that. That is a very different area from what we imagine to be that little street across the street from the Dorton Arena and the farmers market. Okay, now, what this is saying is these are not things that are necessarily going to happen or could happen, but the mechanisms are in place. The economic pressures are in place. And the purpose of this study, when we complete it, is to develop the mechanisms to have more input into the future that you want for Southwest Raleigh. There are certain things, like we've talked about people's perceptions and the diversity of people in Southwest Raleigh. There are a lot of people who've done research in what makes successful communities. What makes, we refer to Florida as one of the people who've done a number of studies looking at creative communities and have identified characteristics in today's market with today's world that causes a tremendous amount of potential development in an area in a very positive way. A lot of those things are transportation, access to downtowns and other areas, diversity of housing stock, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot tonight is diversity of people. Diversity of people in a location and access to higher education and an educated populace are some of the greatest drivers for the development you're going to see in the 21st century. That is what Southwest Raleigh is right now. Now there's an interesting thing that you can do. It's called a tapestry analysis, a tapestry segmentation. And what that does is it characterizes all different lifestyles that you can imagine, up to about 75 different lifestyles of different ways in which people do things. And it's used to do market analysis. And what you do is you see, if you identify a neighborhood that has a high diversity of lifestyles within it, it has a high likelihood to be very attractive for development in a positive way in the future related to universities and high tech and creativity. Now, we performed a tapestry analysis on Southwest Raleigh to find out how many of all this diverse, what lifestyles actually exist within Southwest Raleigh. And when you perform that, this is what shows up. "75% of all possible lifestyles as defined by tapestry analysis exist within Southwest Raleigh, looking at the data, the census data. That is extraordinarily high. And combining that with a very educated population base and proximity to downtowns and universities is a formula for change, and a formula, if the change is done properly, to a very positive change for the future. This is what we're going to be looking at from this point on, as to how to actually develop the mechanisms to impact the change that is going to happen here that will accommodate this diversity of people, which you all are a part of. We did it. And it's only, well, it's 20 minutes. I lied again. I'm sorry. But we thank you for your time and your energy. A lot of people have been involved in our project and are continuing to be involved in the project. There's more to come. You'll hear about, please go to our website, take the flyer that tells you where that website is. This is just a small list of the people that have been involved in the project and will continue to be involved in the project, including a lot of people who've put in a lot of work. Thank you for your time and your energy. We'll be around to talk to you if you'd like to afterwards, and we appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again. Thank you very much.